Hello, and welcome to Doctor Who 50 Years Ago, the show that looks back to the episode that aired in 1967 and looks at what's different between then and now. This week, The Underwater Menace Episode 3, 3/4 of the way through the Jeffrey Orme saga. I am Ben.
I am Luke.
And I am Nick.
And here we are, and here we go into the news from 1967. On Monday, the 23rd of January, border conflict broke out between the Soviet Union and China over an island in the Ussuri River.
Yes, I remember this. This will lead to them fighting a war in 1968, I believe.
It's news to me.
Oh no, yeah, this is the reason why China goes on to make friends with Nixon.
Okay, right.
Because there's this breakdown in relationship between the Soviet Union and China.
Right, okay. I didn't realise it would escalate into a full-on war.
Yeah, it's a small war. No, it doesn't go on for very long, but it's roughly about this time. I think it's the same reason China is trying to get has a nuclear weapons program.
Yes,
precisely because of this.
It's hydrogen bombs on the way. Yeah,
because they don't trust the Soviet Union to protect them anymore.
So what we have is communism on communism.
We do.
Yes. This whole idea that communism is monolithic is completely, utterly wrong, and America will take a good 4 or 5 years to realise that China and the Soviet Union are no longer allies.
On that same day, the US Supreme Court struck down a New York state law that prohibited members of any Communist Party organisation from teaching in public schools. Which is pretty big.
Yeah, wow, that's terrible that they even did that in the first place. I mean, that was presumably done at the height of the Red Scare in the mid-50s.
Mid-50s.
But that's terrible. America, the whole point is that as long as you're not trying to overthrow the government or being a terrorist, you should be able to be a member of a political party or organisation.
Or teach.
The whole point of America is freedom of speech.
Yeah, it's not indoctrination.
Can we see any similarities between the Islamophobia of today and the fact that a lot of people reject it, and the fact that they're rejecting the Red Scare communophobia?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, I think at the moment we're in the equivalent of the Red Scare. Islamophobia is at a height right now. It's really... 9/11 kind of suddenly...
reawakened.
Yeah, people suddenly... It went from being, at least in this country, terrorists are all Irish people, and it suddenly flipped to...
There they are now.
And it suddenly flipped to Islamic terrorists. Everyone always assumes Islamic terrorism.
On Tuesday the 24th of January, the US agreed a $135 billion budget for 1968, including $72.3 billion for military spending, due to, in part, the Vietnam War raging on. It's insane levels.
Are you saying... So the American government decided they were going to spend $135 billion in 1968?
Yeah.
Of everything. That's total.
And 72.3 might have been military spending.
That is incredible.
That is a huge amount. That is 60% roughly calculating.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a big number. I mean, not every single cent went on to Vietnam, but
it would have soaked up a lot of that money.
So which country is the one that's militarising the most?
China,
the Soviet Union, or the US?
Yeah.
And finally, 2 bits about space. The Outer Space Treaty was signed between the US, the Soviet Union, Great Britain, and some other powers, including France, I think, on Friday the 27th of January. But this was overshadowed, rather, by the destruction of Apollo 1 at Cape Kennedy. It's the fire caused by the electrical sparking, killing all 3 of the American astronauts on board. It's a massive blow to the space industry. Their first manned capsules, I think.
Yeah.
Fully manned capsules being spent up into
But
space.
it's a sign of how things have changed. Well, it wasn't even 50 years after this where things have changed. But so here, 3 Americans died, but the sentiment was, okay, we're going to keep going. That's what they would have wanted. We're going to go even further into this. We're really going to go for this. Double down on trying to get to the moon, etc., etc.
It sort of does it the other way round when it comes to Challenger.
Yes, that was what I was thinking of. But the deaths of those 9 people, I think it's 9, most of them being civilians as opposed to proper astronauts, leads to basically the space program collapses overnight. Life is more valuable now than it was in the 60s. Life was already valuable, I think, after both World Wars. People started to value life more.
Oh yes.
But so it was a thing that was carrying on. But nowadays, life is even viewed as being even more valuable.
That was the news. And now, with some light music in the background, we shall go to the Underwater Menace episode 3. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I loved this one. This was amazing. This episode really brought the serial into its own.
It is a spectacle to behold.
Oh, and I'm so happy it exists. Because it's just, you wouldn't get the crazy facial expressions of Zaroff or whatever, if it was lost. And I could see why someone thought, let's keep this one. This one's really funny. Unlike last week where it was a bit slow and a bit boring, this week I was entertained.
Everything's ramped up, the tension, the music.
Yeah, and
the bizarreness.
When me and Luke watched
The Avengers.
The Avengers, Man in the Mirror.
Made by Jeffrey Orm.
Yes, we realised this has been mirrored here as well. In that, it was slow build, and then action, lots of action at the end. Here, same thing. It was a slow build for a couple of episodes, and now there's lots of action.
This is the product of somebody's imagination.
Mm.
It really is. The stuff of cartoons, as we've seen before.
I'm going to shock you both. I liked this one. I liked it a lot. I preferred episode 1. Maybe just because I spend all my time watching stupid movies, I'm a bit more calloused. But when this serial was doing its thing, I preferred it to episode 1. I just think there were a lot more troughs to this one.
It's full of entertaining things. We shall get into them. The Doctor and Ramo were taken away to be sacrificed by Lolan after making fun of Zaroff, and Faust learns how mad Zaroff is. The mad twinkle.
Yeah, you can see the eye twitches, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, it's just...
This is where this episode's telling you, this is going to be a great one.
Wonderful acting by Joseph First, who plays Zaroff.
They've reshot the opening to this one.
Yes,
noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that might be down to doing them on different days.
Quite possibly.
Mm.
I think I saw somewhere that each episode was only prepared a week in advance. That's how close this was.
Wow.
So it was almost certainly on different
days. It got to that
days.
at some points, yeah. So this is another execution attempt. It fails because the face of Ando speaks out onto the people of Atlantis. The religious folk even believe that their god is speaking, but in actual fact, it is Ben's voice over a loudspeaker used to dupe the religious lot, helping the Doctor and Ramo escape behind the face of Ando. Once again, poking the eye of the face of religion.
What's interesting to me about this bit is that it's not just Ben doing the speaking, because you also hear Polly screaming. And that's one of the more uncomfortable and summations of this era, where Ben does the talking and Polly does the screaming.
Right. Yeah, okay.
As we'll see later in this episode, and as we saw in episode 1 where she got kidnapped immediately as soon as she was left on her own, Polly is useless. In this episode, she is useless.
Yes.
Compared to last era, where at least she did something, she is criminally just nothing.
She's just there to be the damsel in distress.
Yes.
Yeah. Zaroff looks for the Doctor throughout Atlantis, not believing that he's been eaten up, using his authority as a scientist over Faust. Meanwhile, the Doctor plans to attack Zaroff and start a revolution by getting the fish people to go on strike, and thereby starve Atlantis, which is going to be a long game, whilst the Doctor and companions plan to kidnap Professor Zaroff himself.
Yeah. I just found it funny, that line where Ben says, make the fish people go on strike. It's just such a funny line. But quite relevant to the time. I mean, the 70s are a bit in the future, but people were more willing to strike back then, and I think
definitely in the
60s. It was a more common occurrence, and I don't think people were so hateful of strikes and strikers yet. That came with the 70s.
What that means is that in this serial we both have mining and strikes.
It does, yes. Yes.
So some of the big things of the 60s in England. Not sure about mining.
Well, miners were always kind of going on strike.
And ultimately they've shown to have power over the government, 68, 69. And that is in part what leads to the demise of Harold Wilson's government. Yeah, but...
It's always... But whenever a Labour government was in, they didn't cave in, but they would just they would be more willing to negotiate than the Conservative government would be. So generally there weren't as many strikes.
So here comes the Doctor's plan. In the Atlantis market full of fish people in costumes, the Doctor disguises himself as a musical hobo sailor person, whilst Ben, Jamie, Polly and Ara hide away in the background away from the guards and the cameras. Eventually they make a scene with some wonderful music by Dudley Simpson.
Oh, yes.
Zaroff is drawn in, kidnapped and hidden away.
Yeah, I would say the sight of Patrick Troughton with sunglasses, that was something else.
Yeah, it's something new for the Doctor.
Yeah. Oh, God, this was...
Acting incognito.
Prefacing the 12th Doctor.
Oh, God, no. Why did you remind me of that? Oh.
We'd like to point out for the viewers at home that Ben's laptop background is in fact the Doctor in sunglasses. So when Ben says, "Why did you remind me?"
I have to look at it day in, day out.
Yes.
Oh, Gordon Bennett. Right. I'm going to replace it with Patrick Troughton now. Great. I've decided that's that. So yeah.
The good thing about this bit though, the begetting the sunglasses, which nowadays we cannot look at. The Doctor uses his recorder as like some sort of
blowpipe. Yeah.
Yes, if that's what it's supposed to be called. Blowgun, whatever. And yeah, that's really good because when we see the fourth Doctor, the way he uses his scarf, sort of prefaced here. We've got the Doctor being kooky and weird, but he's using the recorder for really interesting, serious purposes. When Power of the Darks, he used it to cover up the sound of the bugs. Here, he uses it as a weapon, and I think that's really good.
It's basically them using the props they had at the time, because eventually his recorder gets used as a blasted telescope and things in the Invasion and the War Games. And obviously you can't buy a telescope or rent a blasted... Oh, what's it called? Yeah, still a telescope. Buy or rent a telescope, because the BBC don't have that money or those props in the department. So yeah, use a recorder. In the same way you use Tom Baker's scarf as a tripping device or things to steal keys from other people.
Or rope.
Or rope, yeah, that's a bit weird. Fail say that way. Meanwhile, by insulting the fish people for being fish people, and then appealing to said fish people to strike, because they're people, Sean and Jacko cause the fish people to strike. They do so in a wonderfully interesting scene with fish people on Kirby wires and Ealing. This is the pièce de résistance, or the Pisces de résistance. Oh my god, that's a terrible joke, that's the title. There we go. Nick, tell us your reaction.
Oh, that was the scene. It is the scene that this episode is most... The serial as its whole is most famous for, isn't it?
It is wonderfully bad.
It is truly something else. The music is bafflingly... It's sort of like Sea Devils, Dudley Simpson.
Okay, now, the fish ballet and the talking to the fish. I like this unironically, and it is, I think, the most alien thing in 60s Doctor Who. Even though it's all humans. And I think that's part of the whole disconnect between Jeffrey Orme and the director/designer team. Because this bit, it's so alien. The way they move is so dreamlike, and the noise that they make, they sound like dolphins. And the eyes and the scaled hair, it's really off-putting. And I think the way that they're open-mouthed underwater, that's really telling. And that's something about it that really creeps me out. And it's so weird. It's the weirdest thing in Doctor Who, they're humans. The two most horrible things in the 60s are the 10th Planet Cybermen and these things. Because they're these grotesque parodies of human, just slaughtered.
Desperately trying to survive from the terrible circumstances which have been inflicted upon them. It's that survival instinct again, which runs through the classic Doctor Who era until survival.
Yeah.
Excellent. Zaroff says that his nuclear generator has started. The Doctor ignores this ruse, so then Zaroff feigns a heart attack, and the Doctor, in a strange move, goes to the laboratory to try and stop the nuclear reactor, with Ben and Jamie, whilst Ramo and Polly go to look after Zaroff. Eventually he tricks Ramo, Zaroff that is, saying he wants repentance, and then kills him and kidnaps Polly in the process.
I said a couple of weeks ago about how Zaroff would eventually be undone by the means that he used to overthrow the colony, because he used their religion against him. But here, Zaroff, he tries to use... to say, oh, my nuclear generator has started. But the Doctor knows immediately, you are a mad scientist, I can play this against you. And as soon as he says anything about what he's doing, the Doctor knows exactly what to do, and he knows how Zaroff is going to do it. He is being toppled because the greater scientist has the knowledge against him. There's that increase of rationality. And as a result, he's toppled.
Yeah, but then he also appeals to the irrationality of Ramo. Beg for forgiveness from me. Come on, can I bathe in your light? Aha! And then kills him.
Well, yeah, that's how rationality beats the irrationality.
I guess.
You have a greater rationality of the Doctor against the rationality of Zaroff.
It beats the irrationality of Ramo.
Exactly.
Okay.
You have this chain.
There's a hierarchy. There's a chain.
And it's actually very representative of the era.
It is, yes.
And also, when he does kill Ramo, it's very telling that it's off screen. You can't see it. It's below the camera. And it doesn't surprise me that they wouldn't want to show violence. This serial has been very cartoony, so it doesn't really want to suddenly show him quite violently jabbing him with the pike. It makes sense that you don't see it. And I suspect also it's so that Mary Whitehouse type people that ring up and go, my child watches this, how dare you have someone die on it or something, I don't know.
Well, it could be because Julius Smith in The Smugglers was given a very thorough, angry reprimand from her bosses because of the amount of violence she put in.
Violent deaths.
Really? Oh,
possibly.
So she said, okay, we're going to have this pike here. And I do quite like the visual of it sticking out in the screen.
Yes, it's very, very well achieved.
But this brings us something about Polly.
Yes.
Okay, the Doctor, Ben and Jamie go off, leaving Polly. And obviously within 5 seconds, everyone knows what's going to happen. Polly's going to get kidnapped because she's useless. And she's worse than useless. She's stupid. At least if Zaroff overpowered her in 1 second, we could have just all face-palmed. But here, our face-palm bashes through our nose bone and comes out the other side of our skull.
Lovely.
Because Polly says, "Oh, go on, go stand near the crazed, murdering scientist." And...
But that's just the general naivete of the youth, you could argue. That they believe, yes, maybe we can turn into our side, that he will beg for forgiveness and all will be forgiven and all that is. But no, evil is evil. Wow.
I'd like that to be the case.
That would be nice if that's the case, but the thing is, it's almost certainly to do with the fact she's a weak and feeble woman.
Character.
I don't actually think that, but that's the character she's given.
Aye. There we go. Yes. The Doctor's group learns of the kidnapping and sends Jamie after them. He eventually saves Polly with Jacko and Sean, but then Zaroff escapes and they go to find the Doctor. And thus we get to the denouement of this episode. Faust tries to stop the fish people revolting with compromise, but Zaroff arrives just in time. He crushes the revolt, showing Faust that he is in complete control, using his own private militia. I'll cross the rebels, they'll do what I want. He then kills Faust with a gun that does not fire. His 2 guards kill Faust's 2 guards, and revolution complete, he screams the greatest line in Doctor Who history. "Nothing in the world can stop me now." That is how you end an episode of Doctor Who, really.
That was beautiful.
It's completely nuts. It shows what this villain is. A mad scientist bent on destroying the world. It's brilliant.
I do have a problem with this scene, though.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that the governor in this one, he has the most subdued death in Doctor Who history. No one in Doctor Who ever just dies. We all know what it is, and you can picture what I'm doing just from the noise I'm going to make.
The only other one I can think of that's quite subdued like this is Kees van der Zani. What's his...
Sanity.
Yeah, Sanity. He has quite a subdued death, because he's one of many that just gets mowed down.
Thrown into the mud bursts, wasn't he?
No, he was just shot by the androids.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
He's with a whole bunch of soldiers,
yes,
he's one of the ones. He's just a soldier that gets mowed down.
Mm.
He doesn't get any big sort of like, he doesn't clasp his chest or anything. He just falls to the ground.
Because he's
but this one's even more subdued than that.
Yeah, because it's off to the side of the screen, and
he makes no noise.
And he makes no noise.
Yeah. You can tell in Kees van der Zani that was done on purpose, and it's really good when it's done there. Here, it's just sort of an accident.
It seemed odd to me.
To be honest, it should have been over the top, because the whole scene is so over the top. It makes no sense that the death is subdued.
Yeah, that's a bit weird, but...
He really should have been like, like, just falling down, like...
Blood splattered out.
Wow.
If the gun actually fired, which it didn't.
Yeah, that was the most unconvincing gunshot I've ever heard as well. And seen.
Well, it was played on a gramophone record in the background. It's the exact same. It's the exact same pistol shot with the.
Because the problem is as well, his hand doesn't at all shake when he fires the gun, so it's so.
Yes,
that's the problem.
They might as well have shot out a poison dart.
Let
alone a bullet. Yeah, it's nuts.
But the line is amazing, and that face he pulls.
I think this is endemic of the episode because we have very subdued death, which is what we had just now as well. I think my conspiracy theory of Julia Smith being given a thorough telling off by her superiors probably is holding up here.
Yeah, and now it's going to prove the worst of her. She never drinks again for Doctor Who, which is a shame, really.
And I also think having a subdued death here works just about because it means that we hold the shot on Zaroff. There's nothing to distract from his lovely
perfect. Lovely. Yes. Would we like to see this kind of thing
it's
current Doctor Who?
No, not
50 years on.
But this has got to go down as one of the most memorable cliffhangers, and I love it ironically. You can't really love it unironically. It is terrible, but
no.
in its hamminess, but it is beautifully hammy.
it all comes to a hammy end, which is exactly what's going to happen here 50 years later with this episode. Yeah, that's a terrible way to end it. Who cares? Thank you very much.
You should read the ending passage in the style of Dr. Zaroff, just to give it our beautiful hammy ending.
Nothing in the world can stop me now! Except this episode is going to end, so that...
No.
Read the paragraph.
The paragraph.
Thank you very much. Oh my god, no.
Yes, come on, Ben.
Oh god. My apologies to everyone in the background. Oh, Doctor. Nothing in the world can stop me now. Thank you very much for watching. You can find us on Blogspot, which redirects to iTunes, where you can comment and rate us. We're also on Facebook and YouTube, where you can like, comment, subscribe, and other internety things, including Google Plus if you dare. We shall be back next week with the last part, Underwater Menace episode 4, where me and my pet octopus do some lovely things, including blow up the world, hopefully. Until then, I've been Ben.
I have been Luke. I have been Nick.
Thank you, and goodbye. Nothing in the world can stop us now. Yeah, go away.